EA just dropped their deep dive for Road to Glory in College Football 25, so we're going to go over all the information today in this video. The past couple days, EA dropped information about Ultimate Team as well as the top 100 players in College Football 25. I didn't make videos for either of those things, but I did post on Instagram and Twitter about them. The Instagram is at BringNCAA the Twitter is at TubbyLight, so follow me on there because I don't always get out video content. But with that being said, let's hop into Road to Glory. So we were already aware that we were not going to begin our Road to Glory careers in high school, unfortunately. Instead, they replaced it with this. When you start your Road to Glory, you will pick one of 4 journeys: Elite, Blue Chip, Contributor, and Underdog. As you can see, Elite is a 79 overall 5-star, Blue Chip is a 75 overall 4-star, Contributor is a 67 overall 3-star, and then Underdog is a 60 overall 2-star. And the blog post gives a description of each of these journeys. So Elite, this player is going to start at most programs. This guy receives an extra mental ability and 5 starting skill points. And we'll get into how all of that works here in a bit. The Blue Chip player receives an extra mental ability as well, but only receives 4 skill points. The Contributor receives no extra mental abilities and gets 3 starting skill points. And then Underdog also does not get an extra mental ability, and they only get 2 skill points. So I'm sure I will try each journey when I'm playing Road to Glory, but the first one I do is easily going to be that 60 overall Underdog. I think that will be the most fun by far. So after you choose which journey you want to go down, you then pick your position. You can pick between quarterback, running back, wide receiver, middle linebacker, and cornerback. This was another area I was hoping to see more improvement on from NCAA 14. I was hoping to see more options, different positions we can play like tight end, kicker, maybe even offensive line, defensive line. But for now, we have these 5 to choose from. Hopefully they'll add more in the next editions of the game. And then after you pick your position, you then pick your archetype. So there will be different archetypes for the different positions, but for quarterback, we know we have field general, scrambler, and improviser. Your archetype will affect your starting attributes and skill group caps, as well as which physical abilities are available to you. So on the right side of the screen, we can see the physical abilities. If you choose field general quarterback, you have these 5 right here: sleight of hand, step up, resistance, dot, and pull down. But if you choose scrambler or improviser, you're going to get a different set of physical abilities available. You also see the ratings and the stats there in the middle. If you choose a different archetype, those are going to adjust. And you can see the skill group caps there in effect for the field general quarterback archetype. Elusiveness and quickness cannot be maxed out all the way because you choose this archetype. Now, if you choose Scrambler, you might be able to max out these 2 skill groups, but maybe something like your accuracy might be affected and you can't max that one out. So you can see how the different archetypes will affect the way you play on the field. And I think the different set of physical abilities is going to bring a huge new twist to this game. And I think I like the idea of skill group caps because previously, like in NCAA 14, you would basically just max out your player in every category. So you're the perfect pocket passer, you're the perfect scrambler, and there's really no difference between anything. But in this game, there's going to be a clear difference between a pocket passer and a scrambler quarterback. And there will be clear pros and cons for all the archetypes. You will also receive 3 core mental abilities. And I believe these are the same regardless of position or archetype. I could be wrong about that. It wasn't completely clear in the blog, but I'm pretty sure these are the same no matter what. So you can see those 3 core mental abilities right here: fan favorite, road dog, and clear-headed. Now what's interesting about these core mental abilities, they are all tied to off the field things. So at the top, we can see fan favorite. This ability increases composure gains at home. It is tied to your academics. And if your GPA is above a 3.0, the fan favorite ability will be active. If it falls below a 3.0, then it will become deactivated. So to have this mental ability active, you must put time and effort towards your academics, which we'll get into later, but you can see how it's tied to something off the field. Similarly, Road Dog, this ability increases composure gains on the road. It is tied to your brand meter. When you reach influencer status, it will turn on. When you fall below that level, it will turn off, which means you're going to have to put time towards growing your brand for this mental ability to be active. Lastly, Clear-Headed, this ability limits the amount of composure you will lose during gameplay. It is tied to your leadership. When you become an excellent leader, it will turn on. When it falls below that threshold, it will turn off. So again, you'll have to put time towards your leadership. Otherwise, this mental ability will not be active. Now keep in mind, if you choose the elite or blue chip journey, which is the 5 and 4-star journeys, you will get an extra mental ability at the beginning, and I assume it'll just give you a list to choose from. So in addition to the 3 core mental abilities, you'll get a 4th mental ability to start your road to glory with. So once you finish your player creation, it is time to pick your school. Again, there is no high school season you play through, so this is how the recruiting process works. You've already chosen whether you're going to be a 2-star all the way up to a 5-star, and then a local TV reporter is going to interview you and ask you some questions. So these questions will be like, do you want to compete for a national championship? Do you want to become a starter early in your career? Or do you want to make it to the next level and play on Sundays? Basically, these questions and your answers to them are creating your ideal pitch, just like in Dynasty mode. And based on your ideal pitch, there's going to be schools recruiting you. So here you can see a long list of schools on signing day that you can choose from. And there is a bar underneath the logo that shows how interested they are. The longer green bar means they're very interested in you. The shorter yellow bar under like Ohio and Rutgers means they're a little less interested in you. And I assume if we could scroll down further on this list, there would be some red shorter bars. That means they're not really interested in you that much at all. But here you can see the team that is highlighted is South Carolina. They are very interested in the player. You can see the team overall, the last season's record, the offensive and defensive schemes. You can see the school fit for you, the NIL opportunities, which is pretty cool, even the job security of the head coach. But the best thing you can definitely see is your projected role as well as the projected depth chart. So for this example, Caius King, he is projected the starting quarterback as a true freshman over 2 seniors. So obviously that will be good information to know. If you want to play immediately as a true freshman, you should pick a school that has you projected as the starter. So after you commit is when you can actually start doing things with the team. So other than the weekly games, obviously there seems to be 2 big things you can do. You can either practice or handle your weekly agenda. Now, your weekly agenda is broken up into 5 other tasks, so we're going to talk about that here shortly, but first, let's talk about practice. So each practice every week will be a mini game that you participate in. You can get medals, bronze, silver, and gold, and each one comes with a different amount of coach trust. So bronze is 200 coach trust, silver is 350 coach trust, and gold is 500. So if you're not familiar with Road to Glory, coach trust is a massive part of the game mode. Basically, you gain coach trust as you play games and practice and do different things, and you need a certain amount of coach trust to trigger position battles to take over a different player on the depth chart that is above you. You can also unlock new abilities with Coach Trust, like having extra plays when you're in the huddle to choose from. So basically, Coach Trust is very, very important. Okay, so let's get into the weekly agenda, which is separated into 5 activities, like I said. So they are academics, leadership, health, training, and brand. And each week you have a certain amount of energy points you can spend. So the default is 5, but when you have a bye week, you have 6, and when you have a short week, which means you play on Thursday, you only have 4 energy points to spend. And these energy points you can put towards those 5 activities we just talked about. So let's break down these 5 activities a little further. Academics is broken up into test readiness and GPA. So each week you can spend energy points to study, which will make you more ready for your tests, and therefore hopefully you'll do well on the tests. And then obviously your GPA will reflect how well you do on the test. So if you keep failing the test, your GPA is going to go down. If you do well on the test, your GPA is going to go up. You have midterms on week 8 and week 15 of the regular season. So you need to be prepared for those 2 midterms, because if you don't do well on those, there's a good chance you become academically ineligible. And that is when you fall below a 2.0 GPA. But keep in mind, you don't want to just do the bare minimum, because your fan favorite mental ability is tied to your GPA. So you need at least a 3.0 GPA to have that fan favorite mental ability activated. So you can already start to see the pros and cons and the give and take, and trying to figure out where you should put your time and effort in Road to Glory to maximize your abilities. And a higher GPA also gives you a higher coach trust bonus every week. So you want to make sure you're on top of it. The next activity is leadership, so you can also spend energy points in this activity. If your leadership is high, you will receive a positive bonus each week in Coach Trust, But on the flip side, if your leadership is low, then you're actually going to incur a negative coach trust bonus each week, meaning it's going to subtract from your coach trust. And again, one of your mental abilities, clear-headed, is tied to this activity, so you need to have excellent leadership in order to have that activated. So you can see on the screen right now, this guy has passed the excellent threshold, but he's just barely passed it. So if he falls below that line because he doesn't spend his energy points here, that mental ability will turn off. So again, you definitely don't want to neglect this category, but I'm probably going to say that on every single one. Next, we have health, which ties into the wear and tear system that you've probably heard a lot about. If your health gets too low, it will impact how much you can play on game day and could potentially prevent you from playing at all until you recover. Maintaining a good balance between training and recovery is essential to ensure you are fit and ready to perform at your best. As you can see from the screenshot, the player is losing some attribute points because he has some wear and tear damage in certain areas. And although he's not considered injured, if he keeps playing like this, he could possibly get injured. It's kind of like playing while banged up, which obviously increases your risk of injury. And then if you get injured, obviously you can't play, you have to miss games. And unlike Dynasty mode, you won't automatically recover week to week. You have to spend your energy points to specifically recover your health. So again, you do not want to neglect this category. And it talks about how you may want to make decisions in game, like do you think twice about scrambling on second down and taking a big hit? Do you purposely miss a block to save your body? These are things you should actually have to decide in the game, that way you don't continue to bang up your body. Next, we have training, and I think this one sounds like the one I might avoid the most. It might be the most optional, at least based on how I'm understanding it. So training will give you extra XP and skill points so you can upgrade your player faster, which obviously sounds great. However, you also incur a small amount of wear and tear damage when you train, so you have to keep that in mind. But there's no negative side effect to not training. I don't think it's not tied into any of your mental abilities. It's not tied to basically anything other than it just helps you get better quicker. So would I love to train and get better? Absolutely, but I also want to make sure I'm handling business in those other areas. Lastly, we have brand, which I think a lot of people might think this is the one we can avoid, but I would disagree with that very quickly. As you get more popular and gain more followers, you'll go from local hero to influencer to superstar to global phenom. You unlock more NIL opportunities. You can see right here, he has 2 open NIL spots, and once he gets to 250,000 fans, he'll unlock a third. 1 million fans, he'll unlock a fourth. Your Road Dog mental ability is tied to this category. If you are at the influencer threshold, you will have it activated. If you fall below it, you do not have it activated. Now you may be thinking, what's the point of NIL deals? It's not like I'm actually making money off of this. It's a good question, so here's how they broke it down. NIL deals come with gameplay bonuses, improvements to your in-game attributes such as enhanced catching ability, increased speed, or better stamina, and then off-field bonuses, enhancements to one of your meters such as increasing your number of followers, boosting your coach trust, or improving your health. So you can get a lot of benefits from NIL deals, but you have to remember that these deals will cost you energy points. So you might have to attend an event or something in order to complete the NIL deal, and that's going to take up time during your week. So here's a good example. It says an example NIL deal you can earn is with a physical therapy center. As a part of their deal, they want you to participate in a regional commercial shoot that will air during the next month. While you won't physically pose for the camera this year in Road to Glory, the deal will cost you 2 energy up front. In return, they will give you free physical therapy sessions, which will give you immediate wear and tear recovery and improve your health. By taking the deal and getting the health recovery, this will enable you to do other things during your weekly agenda time management. The benefits from this deal sound amazing. You will get immediate wear and tear recovery, and it'll improve your health. And since you won't have to worry about your health as much, it'll actually help you with your time management later on. The problem is it costs you 2 energy points up front, so you have to figure out if that's worth the investment. If you're about to go academically ineligible, you should probably put your time and effort there first. So like I said, all of these categories I think have pros and cons, and we'll see how balanced it is once we actually start playing it, but the way they describe it sounds like it's very, very balanced across all 5 things. Now, there will also be random scenarios that pop up and take place different weeks that you have to decide what to do. And obviously you want to navigate these scenarios the best you can. So here's an example right here. You get a text from one of your teammates. He says, "You want to drive together to our morning government class this week? Gotta love these 8:30 a.m. lectures." So honestly, a pretty realistic scenario. I took 8 a.m.s in college and I hated getting up for them, but I enjoyed doing it and getting it over with. That way the rest of my day was free. So you are given two options: sleep in, skip class, which is a risk. The other option is agree to drive together. So if you choose to sleep in, you actually get benefits from it. It says getting extra rest always helps. Your back and rib wear and tear have improved by 3. So this actually helped you improve your health by sleeping in. But then you get this text from your academic advisor. "I got alerted you missed your 8:30 government class. Well, not only missed class, you also missed a pop quiz. I'd suggest showing up next time." And so that was the risk. You may have gotten lucky and there wasn't a quiz, but unfortunately that was not the case and there was a quiz. Because of that, your GPA has taken a big hit. So these scenarios will kind of add extra spice to the game. You'll have to decide what to do. Do you want to take the risk and help yourself or potentially hurt yourself? So we talked about coach trust earlier, and like I said, if you get enough coach trust, you'll trigger a position battle. And that's when you try to pass the guy one above you on the depth chart. The position battle will consist of 3 mini games, and you need to win 2 out of those 3 mini games to pass the guy on the depth chart and win the position battle. You can see here the position battle was won by Caius King. This was for the starting quarterback job. So on the left, Caius King won the first minigame and the last minigame. So that's 2 out of 3. It's enough to be QB1. Lenore Sellers, as you can see, he only won the second minigame, Scramble Survive. That was not enough to take the QB1 position. So I'm happy to see that minigames are back in College Football 25. We actually didn't have them in NCAA 14. They were in some of the previous NCAA games before that. So I'm happy to see they're back. So how do you upgrade your player? So obviously through gameplay, which is games and practice, but then also through training, which is one of those 5 activities you can put your time towards each week. You'll have a progression bar, and as you fill that up with XP, you will gain a skill point. And as you gain skill points, you can use those to upgrade your player. Now, you don't individually upgrade each attribute. You're going to upgrade your skill groups, which consists of multiple attributes. So you can see from this screenshot, the elusiveness skill group, it consists of agility, change of direction, juke move, spin move, break a tackle. The top right shows that he has 5 skill points. To upgrade the elusiveness skill group by 1, it will cost 4 skill points. And that might seem like a lot, but remember, that's not going to just upgrade elusiveness. That's not one attribute. That's agility, change of direction, juke move, spin move, and break tackle. So it's going to upgrade all of those things. You can also upgrade your mental and physical abilities. Mental abilities you upgrade by completing in-game objectives. As you complete these objectives, your abilities will upgrade. So the example the blog gives, it says to upgrade the field general ability to the silver tier, you need to throw for 20 touchdowns in a season. Now, physical abilities will be upgraded with skill points just like your attributes. The only catch here is that there's an upgrade requirement, and that upgrade requirement is tied to a single attribute. As you can see here, they're looking at upgrading the sidestep ability. It's currently just a bronze, and they want to upgrade to silver. It'll cost 3 skill points, but they also need to have an 89 juke move, as you can see under there in small writing. In parentheses, it says 89 currently, so they have that 89 requirement, which means they can go ahead and upgrade this. However, if they didn't have that 89 juke move, let's say it was 85, they cannot upgrade sidestep yet. Now, there's obviously actual games you can play, which we haven't even talked about yet, but honestly, there's not too much to talk about in the actual gameplay. The off the field stuff is where it gets interesting. So the coach will obviously call plays for you, just like in the old Road to Glory in NCAA 13 and 14 and all those games. And as you get coach trust, you can unlock the ability to call different plays. But it sounds like maybe we can't audible in College Football 25. It says once you get to the line of scrimmage, you will not have the ability to change the play via audibles. However, you can still make pre-snap adjustments to optimize your chances of success by hot routing your receivers. Additionally, you'll be able to initiate no huddle after the play to hurry up to the line of scrimmage. So it sounds like hot routes are coming back, hurry up is coming back, but we can't do audibles, which is interesting. But the gameplay is the gameplay. You're going to go out there and try to ball out, win the Natty, win the Heisman, win your conference. All of that's going to be super fun. And probably my favorite addition to Road to Glory is the transfer portal. Back in the old NCAA football games, you could not transfer in Road to Glory, which really sucked. it kind of limited the teams you were going to go to because nobody wanted to go to a tiny school because you didn't have a chance of winning the national championship. And since you couldn't transfer, you just immediately picked a big school. But now that we have the ability to transfer, you can start your career at Kennesaw State and then finish it at Georgia if you want to. And again, if you do what I'm probably going to do, start as the underdog story as a 2-star, that makes perfect sense. The transfer portal will be available after each season, so if you want to, you can literally play at like 4 different schools, and you'll basically just get re-recruited again, and it'll be a lot of the same schools that were trying to recruit you out of high school. Once you conclude your college career, you can just quit if you want, or you can actually export your player to Madden and then continue in their superstar mode there. So I'm glad they're bringing that back as well. Hopefully in the future we can also export draft classes to franchise mode. So that basically completes the Road to Glory deep dive. And next deep dive, which is the last deep dive, we're actually getting information about Team Builder. Finally, I'm really excited for that. So definitely tune into the channel for that. Thanks for watching this video. Follow me on Instagram at BringNCAA Back. Follow me on Twitter at TubbyLight, and then subscribe here for the video content.